You know, every single day, it feels like we're just drowning in headlines, right? You've got politics over here, some crazy tech breakthrough over there. It all feels so disconnected, so random. But what if it's not? What if all that noise is actually telling one big, coherent story? Well, today, we're going to find out. So, what is the story our world is telling? Like, right now, at this very moment? That's the huge question we're diving into. And to figure it out, we're going to do something kind of cool. We're going to zoom way in on just one single day and see if we can connect the dots. And that day is November 11th, 2025. The plan is simple. We're going to take all the top trending stories, everything from politics to tech to culture, from just that one 24-hour window, and we're going to hunt for that deeper story, that hidden narrative of our world. All right, so let's kick things off. And, well, our story starts with some pretty heavy stuff. We're talking about those massive, planet-wide challenges that leaders all over the globe are trying to wrap their heads around. First on the list, climate change. Apparently, all eyes are on Geneva right now, where leaders from over 100 nations are all gathered for a really crucial climate summit. They're basically trying to figure out a game plan for our planet's future.
And let me tell you, the goals here are massive. We're not talking about small adjustments. The agenda is just packed with these huge ambitions, like how do we speed up carbon emission cuts, like dramatically? How do we finalize a framework for investing in renewable energy? And a big one, how do we fund climate adaptation for the changes that are already happening?
But, of course, it's not that simple. There's a major sticking point here. You've got this classic divide, right? On one side, you have developed nations who are pushing for everyone to make the same commitments. But on the other, developing nations are saying, hey, wait a minute, we need way more financial support to deal with a crisis we didn't really cause. It's a perfect example of just how tricky global cooperation can be. And hey, as if a global climate summit wasn't enough for one day's news cycle, there's also a big health story breaking. The World Health Organization just issued a global alert for a new strain of influenza. Okay, now before anyone panics, it's really important to understand what this means. This is not a cause for widespread panic alert. Think of it more like a global heads up. It's the WHO telling health organizations everywhere, hey, keep a closer eye on this, step up your surveillance, and make sure your response plans are good to go, just in case. Okay, rounding out this whole section on global challenges, let's talk about the economy. And here, we actually have a little bit of good news. It seems like, after a whole lot of uncertainty, inflation rates are finally showing signs of stabilizing. So there's this feeling of, cautious optimism. But I'm really emphasizing the word cautious here, because experts are warning that there are still some major challenges. Energy prices, still super volatile. And those supply chain disruptions we've all heard so much about, yeah, they're still a problem. It's all hanging in a really fragile balance. Okay, so on one side of the coin, you have these huge, slow-moving global problems. But happening at the exact same time, on the other side, you have this explosion of innovation moving at just lightning speed. It's honestly kind of mind-blowing.
And you want to see that speed in action? Just look at the tech markets. AI stocks are just soaring, hitting record highs. Investors are pouring money into artificial intelligence, totally convinced that automation and data analytics are where everything is headed. And then we go from the digital world all the way to outer space. On the very same day, a private company landed a module on the moon. I mean, wow, this isn't just about stocks. This is a huge, historic moment for commercial spaceflight. And this wasn't just some PR stunt. Nope. This mission had real, specific goals. First, land on the surface. Second, grab some geological samples. And third, and this is super cool, test out some new robotic tech that they're hoping to use for future missions to Mars. So we've got these massive global challenges, and then this crazy fast innovation. So how does all of that actually show up in our culture, in our day-to-day lives? Well, let's check the planet's cultural pulse. Check this out. $500 million. That's the opening weekend box office for a brand new science fiction blockbuster. I mean, if that doesn't tell you we're all a little obsessed with the future, with technology, and with space, I don't know what does. And it's not just making a ton of money. The critics are absolutely loving it. They're calling it a defining moment for the genre, just raving about its groundbreaking visuals and its storyline. It sounds like it's really pushing the envelope. All right, from the silver screen to the sports field, we have another huge historic moment.
In an absolute nail-biter of a final, Spain just defeated Brazil 3-2 to win the Women's World Football Championship. What a game!
But honestly, the score itself is only part of the story. The really big news here? This match absolutely smashed global viewership records. It's a true landmark, a testament to the incredible, explosive growth of women's sports.
And finally, let's see how all this stuff is playing out online. A single hashtag is trending all over the world. #GreenFuture. And this is way more than just a hashtag, right? It's like a whole global movement happening online. People are sharing all kinds of tips for sustainable living, zero waste practices, how to switch to renewables. It's kind of like the grassroots version of that big climate summit we talked about earlier. It's the same idea, just happening from the ground up. Okay, so we've looked at global challenges. We've looked at crazy innovation. We've checked the cultural pulse. What does it all mean when you put it together? What is the real story that this one day is trying to tell us? Well, when you step back and look at the whole picture, it becomes pretty clear. Today's news paints a picture of a world in transition, a world that's trying to juggle this breakneck speed of technological innovation with this huge weight of environmental responsibility. And all the while, we're still just trying to figure out how to cooperate on a global scale. So what we're seeing is that incredible breakthroughs and huge, daunting challenges, they're not separate things. They're happening side by side at the very same time. And that leaves us with one last big question to chew on. With all of this happening all at once, which future are we actually building?